Ma'am, I can smell marijuana from out here. You need to let me inside, all right? Let's make this
Officer,
easy.
you're mistaken. There's nothing illegal in my home.
I'm not mistaken. Step aside or I can get a warrant after the fact.
I'm a federal employee with the Department of Justice. You don't have consent to enter, and you don't have probable
You're
cause.
refusing a lawful order.
The knock wasn't polite. It wasn't friendly. It was the kind of knock that assumed authority before a word was spoken, sharp, heavy, impatient. The kind that told you whoever was on the other side already believed they had the right to be there. Inside the apartment, the woman paused mid-step. She wasn't hiding anything. She wasn't scrambling. She wasn't afraid. She walked to the door calmly, glanced through the peephole, and saw a uniform standing just a little too close to the frame, a clipboard held forward like a shield, a body camera blinking red. She opened the door halfway. "What's going on?" she asked. The officer didn't answer her question. Instead, his eyes moved past her shoulder, into the apartment, over her couch, toward the hallway, like the door was an invitation and not a boundary. "I smell marijuana," he said flatly. That was the opening line. Not hello. Not we received a call. Not may I speak with you. Just an accusation. The woman didn't flinch. "There's no marijuana in my home," she said evenly. The officer shifted his weight and stepped closer, closing the space between them without asking. "That's not what I'm smelling," he replied. "I know that smell. Comes from places like this." "Places like this?" She raised an eyebrow. "What does that mean?" The officer ignored the question. He lifted the clipboard slightly, tapping it once against his palm. "We had a report," he said. "Strong odor, possible drug activity. You people think closing the door hides everything. There it was. Not subtle, not accidental, not misunderstood. Before we go any further, comment where you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels." The woman rested one hand on the door frame, the other still inside her apartment. She did not invite him in. "You don't have a warrant," she said calmly. "And you don't have consent to enter." The officer smirked. "See, that's the problem with you folks," he said. "Always talking like lawyers, always got something to hide." "I work in law," she replied. "So yes, I know my rights." That made him laugh. A short, ugly laugh. "Sure you do," he said. "Everybody's something these days. DOJ, FBI, CIA, heard it all." She met his eyes. "I'm with the Department of Justice," she said. "If you have a legitimate reason to be here, state it. Otherwise, you're done." The officer's expression hardened. "Don't get cute with me," he said. "I've been doing this job a long time. I can tell when something's off." "What's off?" she replied. "Is you standing at my door accusing me of a crime without evidence." "Ooh." The officer leaned forward slightly, lowering his voice. "You sure you want to take that tone?" he asked. "Because I can make this real uncomfortable." Her jaw tightened. "Are you threatening me?" she asked. He shrugged. "I'm saying cooperation goes a long way," he replied. "Especially for people like you." She took a breath. "People like me," she repeated. The officer looked her up and down now, really looked. Her hair, her clothes, the interior behind her. "You know," he said, "this building gets a lot of complaints. Noise, smells, suspicious visitors. Usually comes from the same kind of residents." She didn't raise her voice. She didn't step back. She didn't break eye contact. "Are you accusing me of something specific?" she asked. "Or just fishing?" The officer's smile faded. "I smell weed," he said again. "That gives me probable cause." "No, it doesn't," she replied immediately. "Not by itself, and not without corroboration." The officer's lips pressed into a thin line. "You always think you know better," he said. "That's why you people end up in trouble." Her hand tightened on the door frame. "You keep saying 'you people,'" she said. "Say it clearly." The officer scoffed. "Don't play victim," he said. "This isn't about race. It's about behavior." "What behavior?" she asked. "Standing in my own doorway?" He shifted closer again. Too close. "Step aside," he said. "I'm going to take a look." "No," she said firmly. "You're not." The officer's tone snapped. Don't obstruct, he warned. That's another charge. Another? She asked. You haven't named the first. He raised his voice just enough for neighbors down the walkway to hear. Ma'am, I'm investigating possible narcotics activity. She glanced down the hallway. A door cracked open. Someone was listening. This is harassment, she said, and you know it. The officer leaned back, feigning calm. See, this is why you people always escalate, he said. You don't know when to just comply. I'm complying with the law, she replied. You're not. Well, that did it. The officer's face flushed. All right, he said. If you want to play games, we'll play games. He lifted his radio. I've got an uncooperative occupant, he said. Possible drugs. Refusing entry. She shook her head slowly. You're lying, she said, and you're doing it on camera. The officer glanced at his body cam for half a second. Good, he said. Then it'll show exactly how difficult you're being. It'll show exactly what you said, she replied, including the part about you people. He didn't respond. Instead, he stepped back and planted his feet, arms crossed now, blocking the walkway like he owned it. Until we clear this up, he said. You're not going anywhere. I'm in my home, she replied. I don't need to go anywhere. That can change, he said. The air felt heavier now, charged. A neighbor down the hall opened their door fully. Everything okay? They asked nervously. The officer answered without looking away from her. Police business, he said. Stay inside. She looked at the neighbor. He's claiming he smells marijuana, she said. There isn't any. The officer snapped his head toward the neighbor. Sir, I told you to stay out of it, he barked. The neighbor shut the door slowly. The woman exhaled. You're abusing your authority, she said quietly. The officer leaned in again. You should be grateful I'm being patient, he said. Where I'm from, people like you don't get this many chances. She met his gaze, unblinking. Where you're from isn't the law, she said, and neither are your assumptions. A pause. Then the officer smiled again, but this time it didn't reach his eyes. All right, he said. Let's do this the hard way. He reached for the clipboard and flipped a page. Failure to cooperate, he muttered. Possible obstruction. She stared at him. You're going to regret this, she said. The officer looked up slowly. People like you always say that, he replied, and nothing ever happens. The body camera kept blinking, recording the words, the tone, the assumptions, the lie about marijuana that started it all. And what the officer didn't know, what he couldn't smell, couldn't profile, couldn't intimidate away, was that he had just chosen the wrong door. And the wrong woman. Because this wasn't just a resident. This was a Department of Justice official. The officer said nothing for a moment. He just stood there, blocking the walkway, arms crossed, jaw tight, like a man who believed the uniform alone made him untouchable. The woman didn't move. She didn't retreat. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't beg. Instead, she reached slowly into the pocket of her cardigan. The officer tensed instantly. Hey, he snapped. Hands where I can see them. Her hand stopped mid-motion. I'm getting my phone, she said calmly. Relax. You don't get to decide what relax means, he replied. People like you always escalate. She ignored the comment and pulled the phone free, holding it openly in her palm. I'm calling my supervisor, she said. The officer laughed again. That same ugly laugh. Oh, here we go, he said. Who's it going to be this time? Your cousin? Your lawyer? She looked up at him. My supervisor is a U.S. attorney, she said. That made him pause. Just for half a second. Then he waved it off. Sure, he said. And I'm the president. She unlocked the phone, scrolled once, and pressed call. Put it on speaker. The line rang. Once. Twice. Then a voice came through, calm, controlled, unmistakably authoritative. This is Assistant U.S. Attorney Keller. The officer froze. The woman didn't look away from him. This is, name redacted, she said. I'm at my residence, An officer is at my door claiming he smells marijuana and is threatening entry without a warrant. Silence. Then, "Is your body camera activated?" the voice asked. The officer's eyes flicked instinctively to the blinking red light on his chest. "Yes," the woman replied. "He's been recording the entire encounter." The voice on the phone changed tone. "Officer," Keller said, now speaking directly into the speaker, "identify yourself." The officer cleared his throat. Officer Daniels," he said. "Badge?" "Stop," Keller cut in. "Do you have a warrant?" "No, sir," Daniels replied. "Do you have consent to enter?" "No." "Then why are you still standing there?" Daniels straightened his back. "Probable cause," he said. "I smell marijuana." There was a pause on the line. Then Keller spoke again, slow, deliberate. "Officer Daniels, my employee is a federal DOJ official. If you enter her home without legal authority, you will be violating federal law on camera." The words landed hard. The officer swallowed. "That doesn't mean anything," he said, though his voice cracked slightly. "People like her say anything." People like her. Keller heard it. "Officer," Keller said, "did you just refer to my employee as people like her?" Daniels didn't answer. "I'll repeat the question," Keller said. "Did you?" Daniels shifted his feet. "I meant—" "You're done speaking," Keller said flatly. "Step away from the doorway, now." The officer's face reddened. "I'm not taking orders from some desk jockey," he snapped. "I know how this works. You all hide behind titles. Suck." The woman finally spoke again. "You're making this worse," she said quietly. Daniels scoffed. "You think flashing connections scares me?" he said. "I've dealt with your kind before. You come into nice neighborhoods, act entitled, then cry discrimination when we knock." That sentence echoed down the hallway. A door opened again. Someone was openly watching now. The phone was still on speaker. Keller said nothing for a moment. Then, "Officer Daniels, I am instructing you, on record, to disengage." Daniels shook his head. "No," he said. "Not until I clear this unit." The woman took a slow breath. "Then I'm documenting everything," she said, "including your refusal to disengage after being informed of my status." Daniels laughed. "You think DOJ means something here?" he said. "This isn't Washington. This is real policing." She tilted her head. "You're right," she said. "This is real policing. And that's exactly the problem." She ended the call. Daniels blinked. "That's it?" he asked mockingly. "That's your big move?" She slid the phone back into her pocket. "No," she said. "That was step one." He frowned. She reached into the doorway and picked up a leather folder from a small table just inside. She held it up, but did not open it yet. "This," she said, "is my federal credentials. I didn't show them earlier because I wanted to see how far you'd go." Daniels snorted. "Another fake," he said. "You people love props." She opened the folder and turned it outward. Gold seal. Official letterhead. Her photograph. Her title. Daniels leaned in instinctively, then stopped. He read it once, then again. His mouth opened slightly. This doesn't," he started. She closed the folder. "You called my home a place like this," she said. "You accused me of drugs without evidence. You threatened entry. And you did it while using racial language." Daniels straightened quickly, panic flickering behind his eyes. "Hey now," he said. "Let's not twist words." She stared at him. "You said 'you people' 4 times, she replied. "You implied I didn't belong here. You assumed criminal behavior. That's not twisting, that's quoting." Daniels glanced down the hallway. 2 neighbors were filming now. No pretending. He lowered his voice. "Look," he said, "we can smooth this over." She shook her head. "No," she replied. "You already decided who I was before I spoke." He tried to laugh it off. "You know how it is," he said. "We get calls, certain areas, certain smells, patterns." "Patterns based on what?" she asked. He hesitated. "Statistics," he said weakly. She stepped half an inch closer, still inside her doorway. Say it, she said. Say what you really mean. Daniels didn't answer, because he didn't need to. The body camera already had. A radio crackled on his shoulder. Officer Daniels, dispatch said. Supervisor en route. His head snapped up. What? He said sharply. Supervisor en route, dispatch repeated. Stay on scene. The color drained from his face. The woman crossed her arms. Now we wait, she said. Daniels swallowed. You didn't have to do this, he muttered. She raised an eyebrow. I didn't knock on my own door, she replied. Sirens approached faintly in the distance. Daniels shifted, suddenly uncertain where to stand. The walkway that had felt like his territory minutes ago now felt exposed. People like you always make things bigger than they need to be, he said bitterly. She met his eyes one last time. No, she said. People like you always think nothing will happen. The red light on his body camera blinked. Steady. Unforgiving. And for the first time since the knock, Officer Daniels understood something had changed. Not because she raised her voice, not because she argued, but because the truth had entered the frame. And it wasn't leaving. The supervisor arrived faster than Officer Daniels expected. Not lights and sirens, just a cruiser pulling up quietly at the curb below, footsteps echoing up the exterior stairwell. Calm, measured, professional. Daniels heard them before he saw them. His posture changed immediately. The swagger drained out of him, replaced by something tighter, smaller, his arms uncrossed, his shoulders stiffened. He suddenly remembered the camera on his chest, the neighbors filming, the words already said and impossible to take back. The woman didn't move. She stayed exactly where she was, half inside her doorway, one hand resting on the frame, still calm, still steady. The supervisor stepped into view. Sergeant Morales. Older, grayer, eyes that missed nothing. What's going on here? Morales asked. Daniels spoke quickly, too quickly. Possible narcotics investigation, he said. Strong odor, occupant uncooperative. Morales didn't look at the woman yet. He looked at the door, the hallway, the neighbors, the phone screen still up. Odor? Morales asked. From where? Daniels hesitated. From inside the unit, he said. Morales finally turned to the woman. Ma'am, he said calmly, have you been smoking marijuana? No, she replied. There has never been marijuana in my home. Morales nodded once. May I ask your name? She gave it, and for the first time since the knock. And your occupation? I'm a federal attorney, she said. Department of Justice. Daniels stiffened. Morales looked back at him slowly. Did she tell you that? Morales asked. Yes, Daniels said, but... And did you verify it? Morales interrupted. No, Daniels admitted. Morales exhaled through his nose. Did you have a warrant? He asked. No. Consent? No. Then why were you still here? Daniels opened his mouth, closed it. The silence stretched. Morales turned to the body camera. Cameras on? He asked. Daniels nodded. Good, Morales said, because we're going to review this entire interaction. Daniels shifted his weight. I was just doing my job, he said weakly. Morales tilted his head. Your job doesn't include racial language, he said, or inventing probable cause. Daniels snapped defensively. I didn't invent anything. I smelled something. Morales raised an eyebrow. You smell marijuana, he said, standing outside a closed door with no corroboration, no complaint on record, and no history at this address? Daniels said nothing. Morales turned to the woman again. Ma'am, did he attempt to enter your home? He tried, she said. I refused. Morales nodded. Did he make any comments about you people or places like this? She didn't hesitate. Yes, she said, multiple times. Morales looked back at Daniels. Is that true? Daniels swallowed. I might have misspoken, he said. Morales' voice hardened. Misspoken doesn't show up 4 times on Bodycam, he said. One of the neighbors spoke up now. He was aggressive, they said, right from the start. Another voice joined in. He kept saying she didn't belong here. Phones stayed raised. Daniels' face flushed. Morales stepped closer to him. Step back, he said quietly. Daniels obeyed. For the first time since the knock, he was no longer blocking the walkway. The power had shifted. Morales turned to the woman. Ma'am, he said, you're free to close your door. You've done nothing wrong. She nodded but didn't move yet. I want this documented, she said. Fully. It will be, Morales replied. Internal Affairs will receive the footage tonight. Daniels snapped his head up. IA, he said. Morales didn't look at him. Yes, he said. IA. Daniels' voice cracked. This is getting blown out of proportion. Morales finally turned back to him. No, he said. This is finally being seen clearly. Daniels looked around. The neighbors, the phones, the camera still blinking. The story had escaped him. He tried one last time. Look, he said to the woman. We can move past this. She met his eyes. No, she said. You already showed who you are. Morales stepped between them. Officer Daniels, he said, you're relieved from duty pending investigation. Turn off your camera and hand me your badge. Daniels froze. What? He whispered. You heard me. Chew. Slowly, hands shaking, Daniels unclipped the badge and placed it in Morales' hand. The metal clinked softly. The woman watched without expression. Justice didn't shout. It documented. As Morales escorted Daniels away, the hallway felt lighter, quieter. The woman closed her door gently behind her, but the truth didn't close with it. Because the footage was already saved, already backed up, already moving. And what came next wouldn't be an apology. It would be consequences. If you're enjoying this story so far, like and subscribe, because what happens next isn't rumor or spin. It's accountability on record, and the fallout is just beginning. 3 days later, Officer Daniels was placed on unpaid administrative leave. His name disappeared from the weekly patrol roster without explanation. His locker was sealed, his access card deactivated. The silence around him was immediate and intentional. Internal Affairs didn't interview him once. They interviewed him 5 times. Because the footage wasn't ambiguous. There was no grainy angle, no missing audio, no he said, she said. There was just a uniformed officer standing at a woman's door, inventing a crime, repeating racial language, and refusing to disengage after being warned on camera by a federal authority. The body cam told the story he never thought would matter. By the end of the week, the DOJ had formally requested the footage under federal oversight review. That single request changed everything. Because once federal eyes entered the room, this stopped being department business. It became evidence. The investigation uncovered more than just one night. 3 prior complaints surfaced, quietly dismissed. 2 internal warnings, never documented properly. A pattern of odor-based stops in predominantly black apartment complexes. Every report used the same vague language. Every interaction ended without charges. Every resident walked away humiliated but unheard. Until now. Officer Daniels was terminated before the month ended. Not transferred. Not suspended. Fired. No pension protection. No quiet resignation. No backroom deal. The department issued a statement citing gross misconduct, abuse of authority, and racially discriminatory conduct captured on body-worn camera footage. But the story didn't end there. Because the footage didn't just violate department policy, it violated federal law. A grand jury indictment followed. Daniels was charged with civil rights violations under color of law, falsifying police reports, and attempted unlawful entry. Prosecutors didn't overreach, they didn't dramatize. They played the video over and over and over. Jurors didn't need explanations. They heard you people. They heard places like this. They heard the lie about marijuana. They watched a man invent power where none existed. Daniels took a plea. 8 years. No badge. No uniform. No authority. A cell instead of a corridor. A number instead of a name. The judge didn't raise her voice when she sentenced him. She didn't have to. You used your authority to intimidate, degrade, and violate, she said. This court will not tolerate that. Well, the woman never testified. She didn't need to. Her doorframe did. Her calm voice did. The blinking red light did. After the case closed, the department mandated policy changes, Bodycam audits, revised consent protocols, and federal oversight training. Press conferences were held. Promises were made. But the real meaning wasn't in policy. It was in the shift. Neighbors who had watched quietly before now filmed openly. Residents who once opened doors cautiously now asked for badge numbers. Officers learned that cameras didn't protect them. They protected the truth. And the woman? She never moved. She didn't give interviews. She didn't post statements. She didn't celebrate. She simply continued her work, holding others accountable the same way she had held the line at her own door. Because justice didn't arrive when the officer knocked. It arrived when he assumed nothing would happen. And he was wrong. If you stayed through this entire story, like and subscribe, because this wasn't just about one officer. It was about what happens when power meets a record, and the record refuses to blink. The end.